Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Pandemic with COVID-19, there's lots of companies who've gone out of business, and lots of companies that pretty much are not going to come back because of the economic hardships that come along with COVID-19. So, that's something that's really disappointing, and that's something that you never want to hear, and it's something that you can look at from an economic standpoint and kind of do a case study as to why and how those things happen. And from a business standpoint, you look at it just by simply saying that, most businesses and most companies are living check to check, payment to payment, payroll to payroll, and customer to customer. So if you got any sort of stoppage or any sort of stop in payments, or business slows down, or you have to close down for a couple weeks or a couple months in the case of COVID, it's going to be very difficult for you to even try to get back into the swing of things in order for you to even pay your bills or meet payroll or pay your expenses to run your business. But that's just one side of the coin. When you look at the other side of the coin, there are certain companies in this country that have not only survived COVID-19 and lockdowns and the pandemic, they've actually increased their profitability, their revenue, their stock price. And that's because they had foresight. That's because they were able to adapt. That's because they were able to pivot and able to think about how they can coexist and to thrive in these new sets of rules. Companies like Amazon, companies like Zoom, any software companies that have anything to do with computers, internet service providers, companies who offer their workers options to work from home, giving their customers or giving their employees webcams, giving them access to the internet, giving them computers on the company's dime so that they'll be able to be productive at home. Those companies are now being able to not only say we're open, but we making money because they've done things to be able to stay open and pivot very quickly when it's a hard situation. So once again, you're probably thinking, where you going with this, G. Bush? He at it again. Well, just like companies have to adapt to some of the environments, some of the things that come along in the workplace or the economic environment where you have to adapt to it, the same thing it happens in terms of football. And so when we look at what happens with COVID-19, those things affect the way football teams handle certain things. And it also affects how profitable and how successful you can be on the football field, depending on what the circumstances are. In the case of the Cleveland Browns are reaping or have the opportunity to reap the benefits of COVID-19 because there's a couple of things that make the playing field even. When you look at the Browns and you look at them being 10-4 right now, you look at what they've been able to do and go on the road and win games and be able to compete on the road at any different venue and to do that at a high level. And the reason they're able to do that is there's nobody in the crowds. There's no one in the stands. There's no home field advantage. There's no crowd noise. There's no intimidation factor. It's just you, 11 guys on the field, seeing who can execute the best. You and 11 guys and coaching staff seeing who can come up with the best game plan. And so you eliminate a lot of different stuff and a lot of the difficulties you may have going on the road to get wins. And that brings me to my thesis statement for this video. And if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, man, I want to let you guys know that every single Browns post game, I will be doing a live stream directly after the game. So you don't got to wait for me to upload anything. I'll be going live immediately after the games in 4K, ready to go, and interacting with you guys as well. And I will also be doing a live stream before the game to do the preview of the game. And this week just so happens to be the Jets. So let's finish where I was going with that. The Cleveland Browns right now look like they have an inside track to making the playoffs. And I'm telling you that you don't have to be just content with making the playoffs. And due to the parameters and due to some of the restraints of COVID-19, the Cleveland Browns have an opportunity to compete with anybody in the AFC or NFC. Now, granted, you might have an uphill battle against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but I argue this. When you get into the AFC Championship game, if you make it that far, everything's a fair game. You're there then. You done made it that far. If you're going to go to the prom, you might as well dance. Right? If you done made it to the prom, put the tuxedo on, you might as well do yourself a service and go dance with a nice looking girl. Get you a couple hors d'oeuvres and drink some fruit punch. Because you've already done it and got to the point, anything can happen in that game. Injuries, COVID-19 related people being out. If you get off to a great start and you get a team down 14 points, now they got to prove to you that they can come back. They got to dig themselves out of the hole. Not saying that they can't do it, but right now, more than any other season in the history of the Cleveland Browns, do they have a better chance to going deep in the playoffs? Because there's no home field advantage. Everything might as well be a neutral site. And you have the ability to go to these neutral sites and be comfortable. You might as well be playing scrimmaging. You comfortable. The second thing the Cleveland Browns have that really translates well is the run game. Because let's be clear. In terms of the run game translates anywhere. Passing, not so much. It could be cold outside. It could be slick. It could be raining. It could be terrible weather. You can't count on that. You can't forecast that. But what you can forecast is this. Run game works. Run game is always, that travels with you. That comes with it. It comes in a suitcase that's a carry-on bag. That comes with you. Got everything you need. That run game comes with you. The offensive line comes with you. So the Browns have a blueprint. The Browns have what it takes to get far in the playoffs because they've already seen it. Tennessee Titans already showed you what you can do with that. With Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, who, by the way, right now is probably playing very well, probably one of the top 3-4 quarterbacks playing well. But Baker Mayfield, to me, is playing just as good as he is, if not better, in terms of what he's doing in ball placement and throwing the ball and accuracy and all that good stuff. He's finally getting to the place where he wants to be, and now we're seeing the dividends of what Kevin Stefanski was doing early on in the season. And so when you look at this thing, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that the Cleveland Browns have a shot to go deep in these playoffs. And then lastly, think about who they're playing. Let's go down the list a little bit, okay? Out of the teams that's available, out of the teams that's in the AFC, that's contenders, who strikes fear in your heart? I think that was the beginning of a dark-winged duck. Fear in the heart of evildoers. You give me that rundown in the AFC. So let's start at the top. Colts. Well, you already know you beat them. You already know you beat them, right? Colts, right? And that was when Baker wasn't even playing well. You know you already got them. Boom. Moving right along. Titans, you know firsthand what you did to them. Not saying that it's going to happen again. Not saying that it's a guarantee that you're going to come out here and do that again if you were to happen to see them. But you've shown that you can compete with them. You've shown that you have the firepower offensively to compete with them, and you've shown yourself worthy to be in that same conversation. Let's keep it moving. Go to the Ravens. Yeah, they beat you the first game pretty bad. But let's be clear. That game they had on Monday night, that's a game the Cleveland Browns could have won. Should have won. If you don't got guys in the secondary running into each other like it's a Pink Panther, Mr. Magoo, Roadrunner, and Coyote, which way did he go? Which way did he go? Ooh, which way did he go? If Joe Woods get his people together, that's a dub too. And I always tell you, you know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times? It's damn near impossible. 3 times? So if we would happen to see the Ravens, I'm fine with that. Totally fine. Let's lace them up and see if you can make it a trifecta. Let's go down the list a little bit. Miami. You have Fitzmagic in there. Tua is a rookie. Under no circumstances are you supposed to let rookies beat you. And I'm not scared of Fitzmagic. If he throws 3 touchdowns, he'll give you 3 picks. I like what they do defensively, but I'm not scared of the Dolphins. You know, it's a nice story, but they don't strike fear in my heart. See what I'm saying? Let's go to Buffalo. Now, Buffalo, out of all those teams, is playing the best. Buffalo's playing lights out. I had the opportunity to watch them play Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. And are they playing great? Sure they are. But do they really necessarily just make you scared? I like Josh Allen, but I need a little more proof from you. You know, like Jay-Z said in Takeover, we don't believe you, need more people. Hey, you're going to have to come with something. Because I guess Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs is a beast. He's killing. I like the tight end Knox. Defense is solid. But they don't strike fear in my heart. They don't have me stand up at night. I'm not stopping a microwave for them. I ain't up restless reading Wikipedia on my phone, knowing I got 4 hours of sleep before I go to work. They ain't keeping me up at night. I like my matchup against every single one of them teams. Sit to Pittsburgh. They got us the first time, did us dirty. But look at what Pittsburgh doing. Bud Dupree out. Devin Bush out. The 2 linebackers that was covering for the middle linebackers out on surgery. You got T.J. Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, and that's it. They can't run the ball. John Connor has been the leader, the leader of the resistance. He's been fighting Skynet since 1972 with Arnold Schwarzenegger. John Connor. How many Terminators you see, bro? They done resorted to doing June Jones run and shoot offense, throwing quick aspirin tabs, little dimes to Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, and then an occasional deep ball to Claypool. Hey, I'm not knocking you. It's been working. But am I petrified of the Steelers? It might be the best 11-2, the worst 11-2 team I've ever seen. I ain't losing no sleep over them neither. So as you can see, the Browns stack up well against anybody you want to put in the AFC. And when you put that on top of COVID, and when you put that on top of how they play football and how they run the ball, and you put that on how hot Baker Mayfield is right now, everything's a fair game. Everything is on the table. Everything is on the table for the Cleveland Browns. And you don't have to dig and you don't have to look far. You just don't have to look far because other teams have done this. Other teams has rolled that hot hand. Atlanta Falcons 1 year. The Rams 1 year. Right? These are recent teams. And the Browns have been blessed with getting a brief interval in the way things have been bouncing. Look at the luck they got. Brady decides him and Belichick's no longer going to be cool. He takes his ball, packs it up, he goes down to Tampa in the NFC. So we ain't got to worry about him. Andrew Luck ups and just retires in the middle of his career. With that team, you see what they're doing with Phillip Rivers. Can you imagine if Luck was still playing? Stop the games. Stop him. He gives you a break, right? You get those two guys out the mix, you're good. You see what I'm saying? You've been handed something on a silver platter. You got an opportunity more than anybody else and just as good a chance as anybody else in this climate to capitalize on something now. And I'm going to leave you with this a little bit. And I think this is why I compare great players, no matter where they're at in terms of football, basketball, and baseball. Great players like LeBron, great players, like your Shaqs, your Kobe's in basketball, Jordan, all those guys, Magic. They smell blood in the water. And what they do is they understand the gravity. They understand where the little weakness is. They understand where they can find a little crack and exploit it, right? All it takes is one crack in the foundation and they exploit it. LeBron just showed you that blueprint. While everybody else was running around talking about the bubble and why we shouldn't play, and people were prognosticating that, oh, LeBron's 40 years old, 40, 50 years old, bro. If he stops and start, he's not going to be effective. No, come on, people. This is why sometimes, you guys get me because you guys are not, you're just using cliches. You're using this, your rational thought process. But if you've never lived the game, you don't understand what you're saying. The greats think differently. There was no way in hell LeBron James was coming out there losing that championship. He was thinking about this about to be a breeze. You telling me you gonna put me on an AAU court with no fans, no pressure? I'm just out here playing pickup? And you think you Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Harden them gonna beat me? You crazy? You nuts? Easiest championship he won in his life. Easiest ring he've ever seen, right? But he got it that easy because he had it up here. He understood the gravity of it and said, listen, I'm going to get this ring and get up out of here. And that's the same thing that the Cleveland Browns can do. They can find a crack, exploit it, and ride the wave. You see, you don't have to have a progression. That's a falsehood. And when it comes to when that comes to life in general, and I've always said it, you don't have to take baby steps. You don't have to crawl and then walk and then run. No, that's not the way life works. You don't have to be poor to learn how to be rich. I'm offending a couple people now, right? I'm offending a couple people right now. You don't have to be poor to learn how to be rich. There's all kind of people in this world that came up rich and they just got it, right? Sometimes you don't need to learn from mistakes. See, that's a problem. The smart people, the successful people, the visionaries, they don't wait until negative consequences come before they say, I'm going to tweak this, I'm going to make adjustments. Maybe I should think about doing something different. No, the smart people, the winners, the people that win the championships, the people that dominate, the people that go out of their way, the people that are the top 5%, the people that are your money winners, the high earners, the people that sell the most, the people that's the most respected. Those guys, they innovate. They're ahead of the learning curve. And then they wait till y'all catch up. You could be late to the party. By the time you get there, they're already on to something else. So please be aware. The Browns have an opportunity to do something special. And I wouldn't come on here and tell you that if I didn't see what I've been seeing out of Baker Mayfield. Because he is the catalyst. He is the reason, the straw, the spark plug for even having this conversation. Because without him doing what he's doing now, I would just be like, nah, that running the ball stuff ain't gonna fool nobody. You ain't no contender. And you starting to see that I've been saying that from day one. If the Browns want to get somewhere, if they want to go, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Sister Rat. 2. So let that marinate. Let that sink into your temple. Because I believe that the Browns have an opportunity to do something special. They got to get the defense cleaned up. But when they get that cleaned up, I promise you, the Browns, if they can get that cleaned up, the Browns have an offense that can work, move the ball, and score points on anybody in the league. And as always, happy holidays to y'all out there. I want to thank every single person, whether you agree with me or not, every single person who listens to the radio show, who listens to the live, who supports the barbershop, who supports independent artists, who shows me love, who does super chats. I want to thank every single person out there for supporting this right here. Because you know what? This barbershop represents the people. This is the people's voice. I woke up on a couch and said, I'm tired of people telling stories. I'm tired of people faking and fronting. You got to get to this real. And I appreciate everybody who like and subscribe. And y'all the reason I'm still doing this. So I appreciate you. Have a nice weekend. Happy holidays, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Salute you. It's the barbershop.